All right, hey, what's going on, guys? It's Sunday, time for another baseball video. In today's video, we're going to talk all about the spike curveball. What is the spike curveball and how does it differ from the regular curveball? A spike curveball, you're going to put your finger on top. Okay, it looks a lot like this. And what we're not getting this confused with is the knuckle curve, where you actually put your knuckle on the ball. Okay, big difference there. We're talking about the spike curveball. The conventional curveball, you want to stay behind, okay, and stay on the side of where you have your grip. Kind of doesn't matter where the seams are, but basically it looks like this, a little C. And with the conventional curveball, you throw it like a football. You stay on the side of it, so kind of like a karate chop here with the forearm. Boom. Fingers like this, ball comes out, spins. But the difference between the spike curve and the regular curve is that with the spike curveball, we're able to stay behind it with the finger, which means that you're going to have a lot more velocity. The added velocity means that you're going to have a much later curveball, and it's going to be harder to pick up. And this pitch right here, many of the scouts said that it's the reason why I signed for the amount of money that I did, is because it was such a good pitch. And I learned it when I was a freshman in college, and it took, honestly, it probably took me about a year to get down. I definitely would say that this was the most pivotal point in my pitching career, because it allowed me to throw a very late breaking curveball. Late breaking, and it got to the point where it was so good that I would just throw it at a batter's head, and they every single time would get out of the way because they thought they're going to get hit, and the ball would just spin right in there every single time. And so the difference, and I would say the benefits of throwing the spike, is that it's a lot harder and much more late breaking. Now, talking about actually how to do it, what you want to do is put your fingernail on the ball. And as long as your finger doesn't bend when you press hard down, I mean, you're just pressing straight through the middle of the ball. And as long as you don't have any kind of bend of that fingernail, you're going to be good. But you got to create that stability with the spike. Okay? If your finger bends at all, it's not going to work. Now, once you've kind of mastered the grip and you feel comfortable with it, what we don't want to do is get to the side, okay? That's going to take the benefit of throwing a spike curveball away from you. And what you want to do is, instead of throwing it like a conventional curve like this, you want to stay behind it. And this is what's going to give you that added velocity. Now, the ball is still going to rotate off of the middle finger, okay? You can make sure that that middle finger is right on the seam, just like a regular curveball, okay? And then you add the spike to it. Now, the release point, it's important too to not overthink it. All you want to have is a regular fastball release point. So your fastball is going to release like this, okay? I always got that little extra added whip, and I think my accuracy came from right here. And the same thing is going to go for this pitch with the spike. You stay behind it, stay behind it, stay behind it, and then finish. And that, I mean, it's easier said than done, believe me. It sounds easy, but what you want to do is just play with it, throw it, and try to get that natural spin. And you can always tell by the way that the ball is coming out of your hand and spinning if it's going to come out right. And once you can get it to spin, I mean, very fast, like no knuckling whatsoever, then you pretty much got it. And then it's just about mastering release point and where to throw it. All right, so let's talk now about where to throw this pitch and where you want to kind of look. If you think of the pitcher's mound, from pitcher's mound to home plate, if you look at it from the side, all right, most people's curveballs, especially when they're young, comes out from their hand straight up and then loops like a rainbow into the pitcher's glove. And that is not what we want this pitch to do. What we want this pitch to do is come out of the pitcher's hand straight like a fastball. Okay, so when you're thinking about throwing this, you're going to want to think throw it straight. Throw it straight. Pick a point. I always tell my clients, pick a point probably 3/4 of the way down. You want it to start there, and then once it reaches that 3/4 spot, that is when you want it to break. Most people want to throw this pitch up because they think that it's going to curve more, and that's just the biggest misconception. And I think you get away with that a lot in high school, especially Little League. You see that. You see them just kind of floating it in there, and that is, when you get to the higher levels, you need everything to come out of your hand and look like a fastball. Hopefully that made some sense, and you can put that to use for yourself, because if you can get that down, it's going to change your curveball game. The last thing I want to talk about is just how to practice this pitch. The only way you're going to get good at it is to throw it. You need to master it. You need to, I used to say that I can just kind of wake up, go outside, and throw it for a strike every single time. And it's because I practice it so much. And that's all you have to do. And I think a good way to practice this is by sitting down with a partner, or you don't have to have a partner. You can throw it against the wall, but just practice throwing it. And as long as it's spinning correct, you know that it's going to translate. And then, you know, every once in a while, maybe every other day or so, throw it hard and throw it longer than 60 feet. Okay, and that's kind of how you build that strength up with it. And if you guys can throw it for a strike at 30 feet, throw it for a strike at 90 feet, then throwing it for a strike at 60 feet 6 inches is not going to be a problem. The spike curveball was a big reason why I was a success in college and also in professional baseball, and it's why I was able to get a lot of guys out, and it still continues today, even when I pitch in the men's league, to be just a devastating pitch. Hopefully this information helped and you guys can put that to use. Please like, subscribe, share, do all that stuff so these videos get out there, and there'll be another video next week.